another single author from the new single author shelf. Kind of an unusual one maybe, but I just noticed that I had enough volumes that it could fill a little space there. And so The Straight Dope was this great newspaper column written by a pseudonymous writer, Cecil Adams. I believe it began in Chicago alternative weeklies, one in particular, and was syndicated and appeared in many alternative weeklies. The 90s were a real alt-weekly heyday, but that persisted into the 2000s. All the aughts and a little bit beyond. As a former alt-weekly writer, I've written for a couple. But his column was great, and so people would write in with their like weird science questions, like, or whatever, about anything. And this fun character, Cecil Adams, who really is kind of a fun narrative voice throughout it all. You can tell is probably someone's pretty close to someone's real voice, but Cecil Adams tries to do like exhaustive research and answer the question, like, why does a shower curtain always stick to you? You get into stuff like the Bernoulli principle. But so for a while, these books were collected, and I have all the collections except for one that he wrote for younger readers that I let give away. I don't need it. I like this group of books better without it, honestly. Don't need that one. But these are pretty funny and pretty interesting, and I think about them like sometimes they could become long sequences. The Straight Dope by Cecil Adams. And the column has gone on, it might still be going on, and they have other researchers and writers that become characters. And but they, to the best of my knowledge, they haven't put him in a book for a long, long time. But there's got to be some Cecil Adams fans out there, right? These are really cool. And I love these books. I think I've read all these books like 3 times. Because you can read these things episodically. They're the kind of book you can like leave on your nightstand and just keep returning to them. You know, one of those books that you can read like any other book. Haha. Do these questions torment you? What are the real lyrics to Louie Louie? Yeah, I guess I'm a weirdo because I've had real kicks for this kind of book in my life at times. Table of contents. I like a good table of contents. This looks like it has some substance. Table of contents, chapter 1, All God's Creatures 1. Do cats have navels? Muscular chimps. Why don't hens crush their eggs when they sit on them? Do all mammals have tongues? How deep is whale poop? Bulls and bulldogs. Which is smarter, cats or dogs? Fleecerk says, why do cats purr? Catnip, cats and hairballs. The squirrel city diet. What color were dinosaurs? Cat spray. Animal hypnosis. Huh. That's cool to organize them by subject matter in that way. A lot of chapters. That's cool. I think it helps any book to have as many divisions as possible. If you want your book to be readable, I realize that does not always work with every form, and we should all be free to experiment with longer form presentations. And like Dostoevsky barely ever indented, and somehow his work is readable AF. He indented, but not a lot. Here's an old library copy of The Idiot. He does indent, but look at that paragraph. In a minute, Nastasia. Yeah, that's probably a great paragraph. I dare say, but I suppose there was no possibility of your telling it so that it seemed like the truth and that you were believed. Gavril Ardalionovich has observed very justly that with the slightest hint of falsehood, the whole point of the game is lost. Telling the truth is only possible by accident through a special sort of boastfulness, in the worst possible taste, inconceivable and utterly unsuitable here. But what a subtle person you are. Oh, wait, that's not one paragraph. Oh, wait. Am I insane? I thought I saw that this was all one paragraph. There's an indentation there. There's one. This was the page. Yeah, look at that. That's crazy. Well, I just watched a really cool sci-fi film, Monolith. So simple, so intriguing, interesting. It's basically about watching someone record a podcast. It's about as cinematic as this channel, but they do a lot with it. I should say it's about as cinematic a subject matter. But anyway, check out this paragraph. In a minute, Nastasia Filipovna, but since the princess confessed, for I insist that the princess is as good as confessed, what would anyone else, to mention no name, say if he wanted to tell the truth for once? As for me, gentlemen, there's no need to tell more. It's very simple and stupid and nasty, but I assure you that I am not a thief. I don't know how I came to steal. It happened the year before last, one Sunday at Semyon Ivanovich's villa. He had friends dining with him. After dinner, the gentlemen were sitting over their wine. It occurred to me to ask the daughter, a young lady called Maria Semyonovna, to play the piano. I walked through the corner room. On Maria Ivanovna's work table lay a green paper note for 3 rubles. She must have taken it out for the housekeeping. There was no one in the room. I took the note and put it in my pocket. What for, I can't say. What came over me, I don't know. Only I hastily went back and sat down at the table. I sat on there, expecting something in considerable excitement. I chattered away without stopping, told anecdotes, laughed. Afterwards, I joined the ladies. About half an hour later, they missed the note and began questioning the maids. They suspected one called Darya. I showed extraordinary interest and sympathy, and I remember that when Darya was utterly overcome, I began persuading her to confess, assuring that her mistress would be kind, and I did that aloud before everyone. Everyone looked on, and I felt extraordinary pleasure in the fact that I was preaching to her while the note lay in my pocket. I spent those 3 rubles drinking in a restaurant that night. I went in and asked for a bottle of Lafitte. I never asked for a bottle like that by itself. I wanted to spend the money at once. I felt no particular pangs of conscience at the time, nor have I since. I shouldn't do it again, certainly. You may believe that or not, as you like. I don't care. Well, that's all. That's amazing. That's like a short story in itself, just that paragraph. This is such an interesting book. I think if you really want to understand the mind of Dostoevsky, The Idiot is the one. Oh, bought from a library. Anyway, The Straight Dope. Sorry, anytime I get a chance to talk Dostoevsky. It's just a really important one because he wrote this on the run from creditors. And so the first chapter he was more confident in, and the others were like dashed out under extreme pressure. And like they're very much like from his deeper self. And there's many scenarios in this book that are from his life, but like with wishful thinking applied to them. Like, for instance, he proposed to a young woman once and she rejected him, and there's a really similar scene in this book where she accepts him, or his stand-in character, Mishkin, who kind of represents his good side, I think. I think that's how he made the character Mishkin. He just separated his good self, and he's like, look, my good side is ridiculous and has seizures. And he's kind of a lovey-dovey simpleton. But his bad self, represented by another character, is, I'm trying to remember. I read this not too long ago. This is my 3rd favorite of Dostoevsky's novels. So what is the mojo anyway? Did Brontosaurus really have a second brain? I think it was stressed. Oh, that's just like an 80s cover, right? The 80s? 88. By Chicago Reader Incorporated. That's that scene. Or Alt Weekly. Cat's been meowing. I don't know where it is. Out the window. I'm meowing a lot today. I feel like I should go check. Once there was a cat stuck on the roof. I had to help get it down. Wait. I don't really want to walk around my neighborhood right now. It's kind of a rough neighborhood, and I had that negative interaction with that guy today. And I don't want him backed up to my stairway and pumping exhaust over it all the time. I want him out of here, but I want to be like, maybe I can't get you out of here, but you don't have my respect, sir. What are you doing? Why are you always in this parking lot? Well, anyway, it's been a long time since I read these, but I remember them fondly. There's a greater than 0 chance I may read them again someday. I keep them now for like specific columns that I remember sometimes. Like the one about why pigeons bob their heads. Or even that one about the shower curtain. I mean, that went on. Like the best ones are the ones where they keep revisiting them and adding to them, and readers write in with their own expertise and stuff. It's cool. All major mysteries of the cosmos succinctly explained. I feel like books like this used to be kind of common. I don't know if they're less or more common now. I'm trying to think about it. There's a lot of little like impulse buy, checkout stand at Barnes and Noble type books, that have trivia and things like that. These are different. There's a lot of character in these. And they're made painstakingly over time with a lot of labor over each column. So you do have to write kind of fast to turn it around, but still, it means each one is crafted for a specific occasion. Yeah, I used to wonder, why don't they make new ones? And some of the ones I've read online from later, I just think maybe the books never sold all that well. I don't know. I think they did, though. I used to see these books around quite a bit. That's how I was able to acquire a lot of them. I think I sought out the ones I didn't have. In fact, I know I think all of these from paperbackswap.com, which was a website I used back in the day a lot. And maybe I should sign up now again once I'm financially stable, this address. Because, why not? You're always sending your books, receiving books. If that's still around, I am going to do that. Maybe I can do that with the DVD collection too. It's a great way to refine your collection, websites like that. Get rid of stuff you don't want, get stuff you do like. That's beautiful. You just go to that search bar, look for the phrase, you want in quotes, straight dope. And these are illustrated too by Ed Zoddy, who I think did all that like hot rod, rockabilly imagery. Ed Zoddy. I like a bold font. That's great. Divine the mystical. Well, everyone's book collections are idiosyncratic. You have unusual things in them. You can't just be like, if you're someone who really wants books in your life, if you're a book person with a dimensional library, you're going to have all kinds of books, Maybe some of the books you have will be collections of columns about science-y stuff and cultural issues, and pop culture fluff even. And you might have those kind of books in your collection. When my kids were little, they would always ask me to make weird comparisons between things. They'd be like, what's better, that book you're reading or Shakespeare? And I'm like, what? Because how would you compare something like that? Classic emotional ranging drama with collected books of columns. I don't know. It was a silly thing that they would ask, but it did make me think about relativity and Roger Ebert's old saw of judging everything based on its genre. Though he was terrible at that. My gosh. I watched every Siskel and Ebert episode that was on YouTube once. I guess I'm a masochist because I disagreed with them a lot, and they are often so short-sighted in their reviews. But yeah, you judge a horror film as a horror film, You judge a book of columns as a book of columns. But anyway, maybe there's some Cecil Adams straight dope fans out there that keep these books in their collection as well. If so, I see you. I hear you. You're not alone. You can stop crying. It was a little weird you were crying. I'm uncomfortable. I kind of want to end the video now. All right, thanks for making it weird.